Merry Christmas!
Now, growing up, I've been involved with pretty much every generation of Pokemon in one form or another in a relatively quick fashion, not for the very early ones, but regardless. When I got to Generation 5, however, that was when I started being like right on time with the releases of Pokemon, which was all well and good. It was also a little bit before that I discovered the global trade station. Now, I had always thought that it was kind of, you needed to see the Pokemon in order to get it and all this stuff, and I'd never realized that as long as you know how to spell the name, you could search for anything and trade for anything, so theoretically allowing you to complete the Pokedex on your own, which kind of incentivized me to want to go and do that. Now, I had used it quite a bit throughout Pearl, but then it was in Generation 5, in Black and White and all that stuff, that I started to really buckle down and start to use it. But it was still, in order to complete the Pokedex, I still had to do a lot of things for myself. So that was when I started to buy a second copy of that generation of Pokemon. So now I had a Black and a White version. Eventually later on I had Black 2 as well, so it was kind of redundant, but anywho. So I started trading with myself because that was when the 3DS also was first released, and I actually got the 3DS very early on in its life cycle. I mean, I'm one of the ambassador program in it, so you know, that was pretty neat as well. So I had my DS Lite to trade with myself with the 3DS. So solo trading, booyah, that's how you get it done. So with all that in hand, I started to actually put in some effort into filling my Pokedex. But when you start out basically in Generation 5, even with importing a lot of Pokemon from like my Pearl and Heart Gold versions over into it, it's a pretty long and daunting task. I mean, you'd have to restart, unless you got a lot of stuff through the GTS, you have to restart like Pearl and Heart Gold at least 3 times in order to get all the starters, and then there's a whole bunch of the stuff to do with the legendaries, and Dialga was extremely hard to get because I didn't have Diamond, so it was a pain in the butt trying to find it in the global trade station. But anyways, so I've been chipping away at it for quite a bit. I never actually managed to finish completing the Pokedex though in the 5th generation. I had mostly everything put into my Black 2 version, and then for whatever reason, I can't quite remember, but I think it had something to do with school, I had to step back from really committing to finishing it. So some time had passed, and I had been off and on just putting Pokemon into it that I needed, and that was when X and Y were released. So I had gotten back into the games quite a bit, playing through those, and it was a pretty good time, though X and Y still kind of disappointed me compared to some of the previous games. But what ended up happening though was that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were released. Now, combined with the fact that X and Y really had not a lot of Pokemon to be included, I mean, seriously, you could put them on a poster, that's how much there were. And with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire having the Hoenn starters, because my Ruby one got stolen, like I mentioned a few videos back, that was the driving force to let me want to finish this. So I had just been pounding through that game as much as I could, trying to get all the Pokemon that I could, doing different trades with the GTS. I was having my friends help me out with a couple of trades since I couldn't trade with myself anymore at that point because I would need a second 3DS, and I ain't buying 2. But yeah, so I had gone through as much as I could, and with Pokemon Sun and Moon now close to being released at the point in time that I'm talking about here, I was like, you know, I need to finish this as fast as I could because I want to get the Pokedex officially done in one generation that I can get it done. So, sure enough, in late September of 2016, just before the release of Pokemon Sun and Moon, I managed to get it completed. Last Pokemon I needed was a Mandibuzz. Pretty anticlimactic, I know, but it was the last thing I needed to get. And my goodness, do they take forever to level up. Ooh. My method of leveling up in Oras was pretty much just sticking by Mauville and doing the rebattles with a lot of people there, because you could also do a lot of the biking to hatch eggs and whatever, so it was the most efficient thing that I could do without having to kind of fly around to different places while battling trainers. You had a nice long stretch of refights, and you could bike back and forth, and that was how you hatched eggs and got experience. So, but yeah, Mandibuzz was the last one I needed, and I felt pretty good. It's my first Pokedex completion of my life, and it took a long time to do it, but better late than never, right? Now, for Sun and Moon, at least, I'm still missing quite a bit. I think I got most of the normal Pokemon, I believe. I haven't really looked at it in a little bit, but no, I got all of them that I could, except for most of the Ultra Beasts. Those are ones that are kind of eluding me, and there are technically still a few legendaries all throughout that I haven't got. I didn't get Hoopa or Volcanion when their little things were going on for whatever reason. I think the only closest EB games to me is like an hour's drive away, and you kind of commit time in order to get down there, at least for me. So there was a few Pokemon in that regard that I missed out. And then of course there was the Ultra Beasts and all that stuff. So I'm still missing a few, but the game officially said that I finished the Pokedex, so I felt pretty good, and that's all that matters. So happy holidays, everyone. Have a good day.